Hey, remember when I was cast as the Wizard of Oz 4 years ago? Well, Oz wasn't the only world I once ruled. Just last year, I once ruled another world. A land far away where caravan camels roamed. Like Mulan from earlier, Aladdin at Musical Theater Village was also directed by Aurora, and I was glad that she casted me as the Sultan. Although in the games, he's not really present. Anyway, back to Agrabah. This world is basically divided into two parts. The first part is Agrabah itself, where the Sultan's palace is located. You first arrive in the plaza, where you are confronted by the first set of enemies in this world, known as the Bandits. Connecting through a door is a storage room, which has no enemies and a save point, as well as a few other goodies. Heading north from the plaza heads into the main street area. Climbing up the nearby pole will take you to Aladdin's house, which also has another save point. Continuing north will take you to the palace gates, where the massive pot centipede battle begins. Heading west from the main street area sends you to the alley, while entering the high entrance to the east goes into the bazaar. These areas are interconnect on many levels, both high and low. Leaving the city initially takes you to the desert, but only once the carpet joins you. Then afterwards, you can reach the Cave of Wonders, where the Cave of Wonders Guardian serves as the cave's entrance. However, it must be fought as a boss first before you are permitted to enter. Heading in, you enter the cave's entrance with a single boulder trap. Going forward leads you to the hall, which is a massive room filled with booby traps such as boulders and squirting water, and of course Heartless. Heading through the door on the opposite side leads you to the bottomless hall, which is a narrow ledge next to a deep chasm. By dropping into the ravines throughout the cave, you are sent into the lower chambers. Continuing forward through the bottomless hall takes you to the final room, the treasure room. It is from here that you initially gain access to the lamp chamber where the Jafar boss battle takes place at. Below the lamp chamber is an unnamed room filled with lava and stone pillars. The lower chambers below the cave are mostly filled with water and are navigated by swimming. The dark chamber holds a save point, which is a handy place for making sure Aladdin is in your party, in order to successfully gain all the lower chamber treasures. There's also rooms like the Relic Chamber, the Hidden Room, and the Silent Chamber, which also holds various treasures and triggers that only Abu can access. Agrabah itself takes on a much different appearance in Kingdom Hearts 2. It only has 2 different areas, but each of these areas are much larger, with many bridges and pits. Aside from the main city, the bazaar holds many enemies, although no shops. However, the peddler's shop, which is the headquarters of the mischievous merchant, who causes much of the chaos in the game, has a Moogle shop in it. The palace can also be reached through the main city. Going outside the palace walls gives you more options. The first and in the beginning only option available is the Cave of Wonders. However, the Cave of Wonders of Kingdom Hearts 2 is completely different. It has but one floor divided into the Valley of Stone and the Stone Guardians. The focus of the cave this time is the Chasm of Challenges. However, you must defeat a number of Heartless in a short amount of time. If you succeed, you can enter the treasure room. In the second part of the game, the other area from the palace walls opens up thanks to Genie. The Sand-Swept Ruins, which is what it's called, can only be negotiated by Sora riding alone on carpet. However, in 358 over 2 days, you can go by foot to this area. Sora can use carpet to reach the ruin chamber, which helps him and his friends unlock the secret of Jafar. However, there's one thing I need to note about this world, that during the making of this list, on August 11th, 2014, Genie's original actor, Robin Williams, has sadly passed away at the age of 63, and he was an unfortunate victim of asphyxia. Overall, when it comes to visiting Agrabah, it'll show you that this place is truly a whole new world. And Robin, you truly were a great comedian and a wonderful Genie voice. We'll never have a friend like you. We'll miss you, Robin.
After all, we're pals, right, Al?
Genie.
Just leave it to me!
Now this next world has one special theme that I actually like. Music. Now this world I really love, because it's freaking Fantasia, duh! The Symphony of Sorcery is a world composed of the dreams of the mysterious towers past. New the familiar tower are Mickey's songbooks, which serves as portal to 3 new beautiful locations that are based on a few of the segments from Fantasia. For Sora, Mickey summons a pink songbook based on the Pastoral Symphony. It leads to the Cloud Walk, which is an expanse of clouds and rocky pillars connected by rainbows beneath a brilliant blue sky. The Cloud Walk connects to a forested glen filled with twisters and storm clouds, which itself ends at the Stormy Fields, a rainbow-colored field dotted with pavilions and a hiding place of the first sound idea. For Riku, Mickey summons a blues songbook based on the Nutcracker Suite, where everything is larger than life. The songbook opens up on the Moonlight Wood, which is a patch of flowers in the midst of night. There you might also run into Lord Kiru again. Across a shining lake lies the Golden Wood, where the leaves themselves sprinkle pieces of money. At the top of that forest is a path to the wintry Snowgleam Woods, which is a frozen landscape containing icy slides, floating snowflakes, chili ponds, and the second sound idea. However, Once Riku retrieves the sound idea, young Xehanort appears and casts him into Bald Mountain, which is the lair of the Disney devil Chernabog. The final Red songbook, based on the Sorcerer's Apprentice, contains a simple precipice above the sea where the Spellcan, who earlier caused a lot of trouble in Traverse Town, lurks. When Sora arrives, he chases the Nightmare onto a starry road flowing through the sky, which also contains a miniature area filled with multicolored asteroids and a stellar river. Now, the Symphony of Sorcery's reality shift, called Melody Catcher, is vital for exploring the realm of songbooks. It allows Sora to summon new clouds and rainbows in the Cloud Walk, and also to calm the twisters in the glen and sweep away the stormy night in the fields. And conversely, Riku uses the technique to open flower buds and part weeds in the moonlight woods, even sprouting a bower of leaves in the golden woods and summon giant snowflakes in the snow-gleam woods. Throughout this entire world, the only music you hear is the music from the segments that you're exploring in. Even during Dream Eater battles, and while battling, Sora and Riku's battle noises are replaced with different musical sounds. And another reason why I like this world is because of two different Dream Eaters that usually gets my Mustang senses pumped. You know which they are. Pegaslick and Electricorns. Filled with wonderful music and gorgeous landscapes, the Symphony of Sorcery is a wonderful melody of a world.
Don't know what I would have done without you. Oh no!
Huh?
The water! Oh, I'm in big trouble if I don't fetch it.
Now this is going to be the last tie I have on my list. This time it's going to be both worlds in which you change forms, and also you can't use your summons or your drive forms. What are they? Well, here they are. Now I do admit that both of these worlds are real classics from the Disney Renaissance era. But anyway, let's begin with Atlantica. This world has been the most drastical of changing throughout the course of the Kingdom Hearts games. In each game in which it appears, its gameplay is completely different. In Kingdom Hearts, Ariel joins you as a party member, and things carry out much like in any other world, with the exception of the controls that are slightly different to fit Sora's Merboy form. And like I said before, you're restricted from using special abilities such as Ars Arcanum and several others. In Kingdom Hearts 2, possibly the biggest change is seen because only 2 areas can be accessed, and the story progresses through completion of musical minigames rather than through battling enemies. Kingdom Hearts gives Atlantica a sprawling design that requires certain special abilities to navigate successfully. You first arrive in the Tranquil Grotto, which is a small alcove-like area that is generally calm. In this area, and several other places, you find a save point inside clamshells. From this area, you travel forward to the Undersea Valley, which is an enormous valley under the sea with numerous alcoves, along with high-rising rocks and a current throttling upwards. One exit leads to the calm depths, which hosts a strong current that impedes you, unless you have the help from a dolphin, or the mermaid kick ability. Following the trident marks leads you to the second part of the area, which boasts another current of its own. However, you can make a shortcut back to the valley by using a fire spell on a purple sea urchin in the area. Making it past the area leads you to the undersea cave, which is a small dark area that boasts a few alcoves, but is overall unremarkable. Going higher up will take you to the undersea gorge, a vast area which is similar to the undersea valley that also boasts alcoves, a few podium-like rocks with clamshells on them, and numerous exits to other areas in Atlantica. One of these areas is Ariel's Grotto, which is a small room with shelves stacked with knickknacks and thingamabobs. Along the left side of the undersea gorge is a passage to the undersea gardens, which is a small room with a rock in the center and a lone clamshell. A third path goes to King Triton's palace, which is a large, colorful area full of different clamshells, a large hollow conch shell, and a long pathway to the throne room, which is an elegant round room where King Triton resides, which also features a save point. Along the right side from the undersea gorge, close to Ariel's Grotto, is a large sunken treasure chest. That is also an exit to the sunken ship area. Which is a shipwreck site with a large ship in the middle. After getting into the shipwreck area, Sebastian helps the party find a hidden door in the corner, which leads to the creepy and dangerous Den of Tides, filled with numerous purple geysers. A fork in the path leads to the cavern nook on the right, which is a small room with a save point and a clamshell. On the left path is the way to the tidal abyss, which is a path filled with sea polyps. Beyond that is Ursula's lair, a round room with a large conch shell at one end where Ursula resides, a cauldron in the middle of the room, and a vanity to the right where the sea witch spends most of her time. Finally, by using Mermaid Kick through the calm depths, you can reach the very end to reach the entrance to the open ocean, which is a large, dark area where your final encounter with Ursula takes place at. Kingdom Hearts 2 features a much smaller Atlantica in comparison, with only 2 areas available for you to freely explore. You arrive and interact with the denizens of Atlantica in the undersea courtyard, which is a moderately sized and colorful room filled with clamshells and undersea floral. Along the way is King Triton's throne room, which is similar to how it is in the first game. Numerous areas appear, but only in cutscenes, along with the musical mini-games. These include Ariel's Grotto, which is identical to the first game, the shore, an area over the surface with a vibrant blue sky, and Eric's castle in view, along with his wedding ship, which is an elegantly crafted ship with purple drapery and wedding decorations. Now on for the Pride Lands. Here, you start at the gorge and discover your new forms, which Sora takes on a lion who looks almost like Kovu from The Lion King 2, Donald takes up the body of a hornbill, and Goofy becomes a tortoise. And these forms do take some getting used to. However, you exit out of the gorge and it takes you to the elephant graveyard, which is later the site of complicated hyena boss fights. Going out the other end of the elephant graveyard takes you to the dried up, dying savannah, which serves as the world's main junction. Going north through the savannah will take you to the famous Pride Rock, which can be seen in the distance. A small entrance at the base takes you to Rafiki's hideout, which, instead of a giant tree, it's actually a stone hollow in the games. While going in the entrance at the top of the rocks leads you to the King's Den, and eventually Pride Rock's peak, which is transformed into Scar's darkness while Scar is fought. After the second visit to the Pride Lands, a massive swarm of rapid thrusters can be fought on top of Pride Rock. Towards the southeast part of the savannah lurks the entrance to another set of areas. The Wildebeest Valley is the first of these areas, filled with giant rocks and loads of Heartless. Further on is a twisty, curving path through the wastelands. A pleasant change of scenery comes at the end of the wastelands at the entrance to the jungle. It is in these areas that a change of day can be noticed by the changing from day to night. Finally, the path through the jungle takes you to the Oasis, which is home of Timon and Pumbaa, as well as the world's Moogle Shop. Atlantica and the Pride Lands. One world that's fun under the sea, while in the other, it's Hakuna Matata.
Besides, if you can travel to other worlds, maybe I can too. So many places I want to see. I know I'll get there someday.
Now this next world may not need any introductions, but I know where it is. It's second star to the right and straight on till morning. Tink, take it away! Now, I've loved this world since my childhood, even more after performing in Peter Pan at theater in 2007 and last year in 2013. In the center of the island is the gully, which leads either to the Indian camp, the clearing, or on top of Rainbow Falls. If you enter the tree in the clearing, you'll end up in Peter Pan's hideout, which is called Hangman's Tree. Past that is Mermaid Lagoon. Taking the path on the right would lead you along the shore to the Rainbow Falls. However, I gotta let you know something, that you gotta be careful, because in any area near the shore, this will happen to you while you explore.
Oh, that was the captain's signal! Fire!
We're sitting ducks out here. Run!
The left path takes you to the cove, where you can get to Skull Rock by boat. In Kingdom Hearts, all of Neverland is on the Jolly Roger. The first place you go to is the brig of the ship, where you join up and meet up with Peter Pan. Eventually, you bust out and enter the ship's hold. Activating the yellow Trinity symbol on the left opens a small secret room, while on the right door leads to a hole in the ship's freezer. Traveling through the freezer takes you to the galley, just below the place where Wendy and Kyrie are held prisoner. Climbing through the grate in the corner takes you to the cabin, which holds a save point and a green Trinity symbol that lowers a ladder and allows you to access the captain's cabin. Alternately, the party can pass through the corridor and go right into the former holding cell for Wendy and Kyrie, where the cabin can also be accessed. After the boss fight in the captain's cabin against Anti-Sora, the party can travel out on deck, where the final battle in Neverland takes place against Captain Hook and his pirate Heartless. Afterwards, Peter and Wendy can take you to the clock tower in London, which is the site of many treasures and the world's keyhole. You know, just going there in the game kind of reminds me of when I first went to Big Ben back in 2010. However, in 358 over 2 days, the first place you go to in Neverland is on the island, which is one location in which Captain Hook is digging for treasure when Heartless keep popping out. Hook and Smee are next seen at the rocky expanse, still searching for treasure, and later shooting cannonballs at you while you're collecting hearts. During the nighttime, the rocky expanse is labeled the night sky. The pirate ship deck and captain's cabin locations are also accessible during that time. The final place available is Skull Rock, where Pete summons the ruler of the sky on Roxas' last mission. With a world like Neverland, it will really give everyone a reason to never grow up.
All right then. Next time you visit, we'll have an even bigger chest waiting. Enough for all those treasures and lots more.
Now, before I move on to my number one spot, I really gotta say this. Ever since I started this whole list, I felt it was really difficult deciding which world goes in a certain spot. And trust me, it really was a hard choice. But you guys may be wondering which world I actually chose for number one anyway. Well, I'll tell you. Ladies and gentlemen, the number one Kingdom Hearts world that I love to visit the most is the Grid. Now, the real reason why this world tops all the worlds I liked on this list is because of its whole world design, its layout, its music, including its varieties of enemies you face here. Like the certain Dream Eaters, even though some of them don't appear that much in Cyber design, even the Black Guards. However, not many players know that the Grid was the original data that Ansem the Wise copied to make Space Paranoids. The beginning area, the city, features numerous tall structures, streets, crosswalks, and large slopes that allows vehicle passage to the throughput. The throughput appears similar to an urban digital plateau with numerous hexagonal and octagonal platforms risen. Beyond this area is the bridge, which is a closed area that encompasses only part of the long passing bridge of Tron City. While taking the recognizers in the previous area, will take you to the docks, which is a large hexagonal platform with a central elevator and 2 solar sailors ready for departure. The upper levels of this area feature a number of turrets, locked gates, and another elevator. Taking the solar sailor, you are led into numerous cargo containers that are open with turrets that must be destroyed with the reprogrammed reality shift to fully explore the area. Ahead of this is the rectifier. The first floor of Clue's massive ship has a large amount of cargo containers scattered in the area, with some planes along the side. A small hall to the left is the entryway to the second floor of Clue's ship, which is a number of walkways above the first floor with a recognizer that allows passage to an area not accessible by foot. Additionally, there is an elevator in the area that leads to Clue's throne ship. Clue's personal command ship. It has 3 rooms, the first being the entryway, which is colored orange, the second being a light blue but darkly lit room where numerous black guards spawn, and finally a large triangular-shaped orange room that houses Flynn's identity disc. Among these areas are 4 areas that are not exclusively part of the city. The first is the stadium, which is a small octagonal area where Sora battles Rinsler, who's actually a repurposed version of Tron. There is also the portal, which is a long path with numerous turrets and a save point, where ahead is the actual portal, which is a large circular platform. And there's also the light cycle arena, which is a wide arena with a racetrack encompassing it. Both the portal and the light cycle grid is where you fight the Command Test Dream Eater. And it's for those very reasons why the grid is my #1 Kingdom Hearts world.
Goodbye, kiddo.
Well, that concludes my top 10 Kingdom Hearts worlds. But before I go, I have 2 honorable mentions to make. Okay, Disney Town is the town surrounding Disney Castle. It's made up of the main plaza, which is a small plaza in the middle of the town, with a pavilion in the center surrounded by buildings. The Ice Cream Beat minigame is hosted here, as is Huey, Dewey, and Louie's ice cream shop. It has a closed door which leads to the castle. To the left of this door is the exit to the raceway. The raceway is part of the Rumble Race minigame. It has one exit on one end that leads to the raceway registration, where Chip and Dale register racers. On the other end of the area is the exit to the football court, where Horace Horsecollar hosts the football minigame, which, in my opinion, is my favorite minigame. It's kind of like dodgeball and handball. This area connects back to the main plaza through the path with a banner that leads Football Scatter. In the main plaza to the right of the door to Disney Castle is an open manhole that leads right to the Gizmo Gallery. An exit at the top of the gallery leads to Pete's Rec Room, which is accessed by turning on the machine by casting thunder spells on the meter at the far end of the gallery. Pete's Rec Room is highlighted by a huge pinball machine, which has an exit at the top leading to the rooftop of the building in the raceway. And like Scrooge McDuck said,
"You little buckets of fun there, or my name is not Scrooge McDuck."
and it is truly a fun world.
Oh, we're all very glad you're enjoying it.
Now my next honorable mention is a place where you'll learn to be a great hero. Hey Herc, take it away. Now in this world, Philoctetes can be seen here, training Hercules and several other heroes. The Colosseum has since become a staple in the series. In Birth by Sleep, there's not much detail to this world, except for the fact that the Colosseum gates are a pathway to a town near Thebes. The rounds in the games are time limited, and there's also a mini game where your goal is to break more pots than Hercules does. In the original game in Kingdom Hearts, Olympus Coliseum is the smallest world, consisting of 3 areas. The Coliseum gates, where you enter, the Coliseum lobby, where Phil breeds contestants and keeps the trophies of the winners, and the Coliseum arena itself, where the party competes in tournaments like the Phil Cup, the Pegasus Cup, the Hercules Cup, and the Hades Cup, against various combinations of heartless villains like Cerberus, Hades, the Rock Titan, and the Ice Titan, and other characters like Leon, Yuffie, Cloud, and Sephiroth. In Days, the same exact areas are present, but the games are kind of different. During some of the rounds, sometimes the arena does change shape. Also, you can hit barrels at certain enemies and use them during training games. The area gains a drastic expansion in Kingdom Hearts 2, as the underworld can now be accessed through the Coliseum gates. The underworld entrance connects to the living world upstairs to a world of the dead, as well as holding the world's Moogle shop, and a save point along with the Underdrome, where you can talk to Pain and Panic to gain access to the tournaments like the Pain and Panic Cup, the Cerberus Cup, the Titan Cup, the Goddess of and the Goddess of Fate Cup there. From there, 2 paths into the underworld branch off. The first branch that you can explore leads to Hades' domain through the Cave of the Dead, beginning at the cave entrance, where Sora and Auron later fight Cerberus. You then travel down the narrow passage before reaching the relatively safe inner chamber. From there, you can go along the ledges and cliffs of the Valley of the Dead before reaching Hades' chamber. Late in the game, Hades can assign you to Paradox versions of the Underdrome tournaments that you faced before. Later in the story, the second path opens and allows the group to enter the underworld caverns. After going down through the cavern's entrance, you go through the twisting Lost Road, which in turn leads to the atrium. After an encounter with Demyx, the party passes through to the lock, where Meg, voiced by a certain actress who I met last December, can be rescued and a boss battle with Pete takes place. However, there's one little note about this world in Kingdom Hearts 2. In the underworld, your drive gate is locked until you retrieve the Olympus Stone. There are also falling rocks that could cause damage to you, and there are also torches that drop HP balls, and these little ghost balls that drop MP balls. At the Coliseum upstairs, Phil has a new training game that involves smashing pots and collecting orbs within a time limit. This may have been missed a spot on the list, but still worth a mention to let you know that if you go to this world, you'll really truly feel like a hero.
See that?
Well, what do you know?
Well, that concludes my countdown of my top 10 Kingdom Hearts worlds. Now, I want to thank everyone for giving me such support with this countdown. But I also want to let you know something. Next week, I'm going to be off on my own vacation to another world, which is actually Washington, D.C. So, when I leave, my blog show will be off air, and I won't be able to blog anything for a while until September. During that month, I promise you guys that I'll be blogging some films from my childhood. So, till then, I want you to wish me a great trip, and, well, thank you for giving me such support on my show. So, until September, Mustang Power!